Well, welcome. It's the Eaglevp. My name's Keith, and it's the Gail and Keith Show. So, welcome to Gail. Hello,
Hello, good
Gail.
evening, Keith. How are you doing today?
All right, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, how have you been doing? How was your weekend? What have you been up to?
Looking after Pat mainly.
Right.
So she has taken up all my time today. I haven't had 1 minute. Every time I got up to do something, she says, "Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I've been falling asleep most of the day on the couch because all she does is watches TV, and it
Right.
becomes boring. And she wanted to stay up tonight till 10 o'clock. I thought, oh no, please go to bed, please go to bed, so I can get this done. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Welcome. And Gail says hi to you as well. Yes, I haven't seen Steve for a while. I've been watching his latest uploads. So he's the only one in at present. So what we're talking about tonight, Gail, is the cost of living crisis. How can you save? So I've been going around supermarkets and I've been looking in the what you term the yellow aisle in
Yeah.
Aldi's and Lidl's, and about 2 o'clock I've been going, and I've been finding bargains here.
Okay.
In the
Give me
yellow
some.
aisle.
Can you
Well,
give me
like
some
I
example?
got some iceberg lettuce for 40% off, and it was the date. Due date was today. I got a cucumber at 30% off, which was very, very good with today's date on. So eat nothing but instant noodles and tins of beans. Laughs out loud. That's a good one. So
Oh, yeah. Go on.
I got some grated cheese with 30% off. Essential grated cheese, cheddar, which was a very, very good bargain. So I think I got about 7 items, all with 20, 30, 40% off today. But they've got today's date on, but just put them in the fridge and hopefully they'll survive. They were vacuum packed sealed, most of them. So hopefully they'll last a couple of days. And
In real terms, Keith, in real terms, because obviously this is about saving money. Sorry to cut you off there.
yeah,
In real terms, how much money do you think you saved?
I worked it out. I was just going to say that I worked it out to about £2.84 to be precise. That's how much more it would have cost me if I'd have bought them as per items, the usual price. So, and that was in Aldi's today. So, I thought that was a very, very good bargain there.
I like that. I like that
Yeah,
comment. If you're
I'm
going
just
for the
going to show it
discount
then. Go on then.
foods, if you're going for the discount foods, then get there early. There is usually a group of people hanging around waiting for it all to get wheeled out. Lots of laughter, prepare for battle. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there are some times where, especially like I live in the capital city in London, there are times where people will congregate around those, the discount items. But there are some stores like Sainsbury's and Tesco's and even Aldi, and Waitrose is a very good one that put them down all times of day. So you could go in certain days, there'll be nothing in that aisle, and then other days it's kind of like a lucky dip, isn't it? Really, when you think about it. So when you get the
Yeah,
items, but the other thing I was thinking as well, we were having that conversation about eat nothing but instant noodles and tins of beans. Well, that's an interesting point you've made there because if you think about beans, the price of beans, basically you can have the Branston or the Heinz beans, which cost about £1 now or over £1. and or you get the own brand beans. Like I think Lidl was doing own brand spaghetti for 14p,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were doing what were they doing as well? They were doing beans for about 25-30p a can as well. And this is something we need to do in the future, Keith, as well. We need to do a taste test comparison to see
Oh,
if we have expensive versus cheap, like with baked
yeah.
beans, or I think Lidl's got a McDonald's range now, so I think it would be or Aldi has got a McDonald's range, so I think it would be a very, very interesting discussion, over it. So yeah, those are some of my sort of basic observations.
So Steve's put in again. Do you remember the bean wars when supermarkets cut the price into minus pence? Laughs out loud. No, I can't remember that one, Steve.
I think they did have an awful lot of yeah, I agree. The little beans are good, and for 30p, if you're paying about £1 for the Branston pickle, I think the little ones, to be honest, although there is a slight deviation, I think the Heinz ones are probably sweeter. I think the little ones are good quality, and
Hmm.
also like the Hubbards. I think is it Sainsbury's does a budget range as well, and I think their budget range is very good. I think it's called Hubbards, the Sainsbury's budget range.
Yeah,
They have now budget peelers. I think they're 99p.
yeah, yeah. I love baked beans on toast, but I always shop at Lidl's or Aldi's, and I
Mhm.
buy their essential range or the one that's just a bit dearer. I think beans the essential range about 23p, and the other range is 35. So I always get the 35p ones because I prefer those. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good point. What you're saying about going out and taste testing. So I think we will have to do that, Gail. I mean, I
Yeah.
still haven't found any insects yet because I went into Sainsbury's and they don't do them at this branch here in Grimsby. Because yeah, I better tell Steve what that beans are so versatile. Tin of beans, mix it in a tin of tuna and a sliced garlic clove over toasted. Oh yeah, try that one, Steve. Yeah, as I was saying there, that I went into our local Sainsbury's and asked them for the uh, barbecued roasted crickets, and
Mm.
they said no, we don't have them. So the only way I'm thinking about it is buying them through Amazon because they're only a couple of
No,
quid through Amazon. So
I
go and
don't
get them.
know. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm ordering crickets from somewhere. I don't know where, and they're getting delivered to my house. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. At all. But
Yeah,
Heinz beans
Steve.
are a robbery. They're like the Branston beans, in my humble view, taste better than the Heinz beans.
Yeah,
But having tasted them all now, I think the Branston tastes the best. But I think the little beans are not far behind.
and yeah, yeah. So what other ways have you got of saving then in this cost of living crisis?
Well, I think it's like you said, you look at the yellow aisle and you go, okay, that's one way of saving in the grocery store. I think the other way of saving in the grocery store as well is basically having a look at how much something costs per unit, or how much does it cost per gram, or how much does it cost vice versa. Because if you buy cheese, they weigh it by, say, 100 grams costs this much per 100 grams. So if you look at the grated cheese that's already grated costs a unit about 50p or 75p more per kilogram. And it's
Mm,
the same with mushrooms. If you get sliced mushrooms, they're more. And then also, if you have, say, for example, you buy coffee in a bottle. If you already have a bottle of coffee, you can get those small bags now, small
yeah,
sachets. Well, the sachets are £1 cheaper.
yeah.
Um, Walk in really shady and twitchy and ask a member of staff if they've got them cheap beans in. It's funny.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, this is how I would probably do it. I would have a look at that. You find, though, very much now in the cost of living crisis, a lot of offers go very quickly because people are now bulk buying stuff.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
there's something on offer, it disappears very quickly, and you kind of sometimes it's almost a bonus to find it on offer. But especially like I think the Sainsbury's were having a deal on pasta. The entire lot of pasta just sold. That whole bottom section just sold very, very quickly because I think people are grabbing it. And Steve's actually said, always keep an eye on those price per kilo instructions that they put on shelf price. Yeah, exactly. And it's ironic that is it Sainsbury's? In Sainsbury's, if you buy the pack of 3 onions for 99p, you could potentially get the loose onion or the loose sweet potatoes cheaper.
mm.
And sometimes
I've
by
Yeah, I found another way as well here in Cleethorpes on St
Mhm.
Peter's Avenue. They've got a weigh and save type of thing. So I
Right.
went in there, and buying by the weight is often cheaper because you don't
Mm.
need a kilo of whatever. Half a kilo will
Yeah.
sometimes do. So I went in there and I saved myself about £3.41, I think,
Right.
compared to a usual shop. I got some like uh, cornflakes. I
Mm.
got some tea bags. I don't know what make of tea bags. It just says tea bags. Makes a nice cup of tea. So I thought to myself, yeah, so I've started going there once a
Yeah.
week and just getting the weigh and save because it is a way of saving money. And Steve's put on Iceland get expensive real quick. We looked online the other day and was blown away by how expensive it was. We used to shop there exclusively. Yeah, I used to shop there as well, but they have become very expensive. And Southern Cross says, "Hello, Keith. Hello, Gail."
It's quite unusual though, isn't it? Because we would consider, or I would consider Iceland a lower sort of, for want of a better word, I don't like to use it, a lower class of store. Is that a bet?
Yeah.
I don't like using that. But it is ironic that if you went to M&S or potentially Waitrose, it would be cheaper than Iceland, which
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense. But I think people shy away from Waitrose and go, oh, it's a snotty nose store. But if you go into Waitrose on John Lewis at the right time, you will save an absolute fortune. I've done that before and got some really, really good offers. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll just put it up and then you can read it out.
Okay. The madness in Tesco's, 2 loaves of Warburtons, one thick, one thick slice to normal. The normal is 140. The thick slice is 160. It's the same amount of bread. Gee, that's ridiculous. How could you charge 20p more for the same loaf? How does
Yeah.
that make sense? And it's kind of like, well, how the heck do you calculate? How do you calculate that 20? How do you calculate that 20p markup, Keith?
Yeah, I wouldn't know, I mean, because as you say, it's the same weight, same
Yeah,
amount of bread. One is just a thick slice, and the other
yeah,
one's a
yeah,
medium slice.
yeah.
And the 20 pence, I've never noticed that, Steve. So I will have a look next time I'm in Tesco's just to check that out, because I do all the shopping. So I will, and I do tend to shop around now because, I mean,
Yeah.
as you said, that um, Morrison's price match, Lidl's and Aldi, so do Tesco's, especially with the club card, and so you make savings. But I still think the best one that I've found is the weigh and save.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, because you only buy what you want, and
Mm,
there's no packaging on it. You just go in, you get your bag, or you take your plastic container
yeah,
and
which
put
is
in
great.
what you want. Because I mean, it's like when I buy an iceberg lettuce
Yeah,
for a salad, might only have one salad. Well, if I I'll seal it up again and put it in the fridge, but it only
yeah,
lasts about 3 days. So now I buy the package one.
yeah.
It's a bit dearer, but even that doesn't last. After two or 3 days, it's going brown and everything. So I look at it and I think I'll just go in Weigh and Save. And I got some pasta for tonight's salad. I did pasta, onions. I didn't buy pickled onions, fresh onion, but I only bought one because I thought, well, cut it in half. The other half will do a meal tomorrow, and it's brilliant, because you only buy what you need, really, not what you want, what you need,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it is a saving. Well, I found it a saving, so that's just another way that I found, and it's like with other things that I've cut down on the driving, so
Yeah.
I don't use the car so much. I tend to get on the bus because at my age I've got a bus pass, so don't cost anything. I mean, to go uptown, all right, it takes 45 minutes roughly on the bus, but there's no parking, so I haven't got to pay parking. It's a ride, and it's a day out now, or half a day out now,
Yeah.
going up there. So I've started going on the bus quite a bit. So Steve's what's he put in? The little bread is 45p a loaf. Tastes a bit like chemicals that never go stale, but
I don't think
okay.
I'm gonna eat I don't think I'm gonna eat that at all. And
No.
Tony's gone, "Get a loaf of bread, divide it into 4 slices per bag, 1 out every day when I need it." That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
But I think, Keith, going back to this money saving thing, I think it's just little things in everyday life, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I look at it and go, well, I used to eat out a lot. If I chop that down maybe twice a month, I save a lot. And then
Yeah.
when I go to work, I do the same thing. Oh, here we go. Southern Cross has put a comment on as well, Keith.
Yeah.
In the same way with fruit, no longer do I buy a bag of apples or oranges. They don't stay fresh. I just buy 2, 3 at a time, more trips to the grocery, but I eat fresher food. And you probably waste less as well. And I think there is definitely a thing for me is that you can buy in bulk, but you can waste it. I used to have a Costco membership and I'd waste it.
And Steve's put, I am quite thrifty, but I don't let it stop me having a good time. Well, he's young, isn't he, Steve?
But I think he's absolutely right. I think
Yeah.
we have to look at how we value what a good time is,
Yeah.
because when you used to go out, when I used to go out sort of years ago, it was half the price to go out and have a night out. Now, to go out and have a day out is expensive. Like I went up to London with my friend, treated her to lunch. She had a glass of wine. I had a can of Coke and my Sunday dinner, and she had a salad, and it was £60, right? But
Yeah.
that's a special event. That would be considered a special event. I used to probably do that once or twice a month. I probably do that less than once a month now. I
Yeah.
just cut that out. And even with like little things like today I would have bought 2 cups of coffee out. I just bought 1.
Yeah.
And I was reluctant to pay £3.70 for a coffee because I
Yeah.
think it's ridiculous.
Yes.
So it's a lot, I think, about looking out how you can cut things out of your diet, of your budget, and even like standing orders. How many of us direct debits? Do you have any unnecessary direct debits that you can think of, Keith, that you never use?
The only direct debit I've got is for this software,
Mm.
Melon, which
Yeah,
costs me £12 a month,
yeah,
£3 a week, which I'm prepared to pay. I've got no other debt. I got rid of all my debt, and if I
yeah,
want anything, like if I wanted a new camera, I'd save up. If I wanted a new car, I'd save up.
mm,
So I'll, I think to myself, that way I'm not paying interest charges.
yeah,
And all right, it might take me 2 or 3 years to save up, but I've got no debt.
yeah,
And that is a blessing, really, because at my time of life, I've got friends who are the same age as me, and they've got tons of debt, and
yeah,
they're paying credit cards off every month. and what is it, 39% interest charges?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no thanks. So DJI man has put never drank, so no pubs unless haunted. Left that can afford to take that up. And Steve's put God, I
So
smoke.
Southern Cross put a trip to McDonald's for 2 people over here costs $25. Jesus. And then Steve put, I smoke a 50-gram pouch of baccy in the shop is around 30 plus. He went to Turkey, bought the same baccy in a Turkish supermarket at 135 a pouch. So he's saving loads. And my wife and I used to go to steak and lobster dinner for that much. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous sometimes the prices you charge. I mean, now I tend to go if I go to a pub, if Jane, my friend Jane, comes down from Edinburgh sometimes, we now go and get our Sunday lunch down the road at a local cafe, a really good value one. It's £10, which I think is pretty good for a Sunday lunch in London, and that includes
Yeah,
a drink of pop, right, or water, or coffee or tea.
yeah,
And I sometimes go to the Wetherspoons pub because the beer is cheaper. So in
yeah.
London, £6 or £7. Like I went out today and bought a round for my friend, and a glass of wine and a Diet Coke was £10.40.
Whew, wow, wait.
£10.40. I
40.
mean, can you believe that?
Yeah,
So
I'm pleased that I live in Cleethorpes because it's, as I've said before, it is a cheaper area.
yeah,
Uh, Southern Cross says that's a good deal, and it was. But I go out for Sunday dinner. I mean, now we go out, I think, 6 times a week to our local tea room because they do meals. And I mean, a breakfast is £5 with a cup of tea.
yeah,
Uh, we also they do a small roast. That's
yeah,
only £5. The cup of
that's good.
tea's a pound extra. So we've been going there, Harriet's on the High Street in Cleethorpes
Hmm.
for the last year and a half, and it's cheaper than putting the gas cooker on,
Yeah,
going to the shops and buying. So really, all I'm buying now when I go shopping is like um, toiletries
hmm,
um, and packets of crisps and things like that. But I found that with the Way and Save now, I can go there and then buy what I need, not what
yeah.
not extra packaging and everything like that.
So here
So
we go. Somebody's put Mackey's is a rip-off these days. I am certain the portions are shrinking as well. Stack, eat free and delivery on top. A meal is each is a yeah. I wouldn't even bother with any sort of delivery services like Just Eat or something because they charge you an extortionate amount of money. And then it says I was in a chippy the other day. Large fish was £4. I was in Essex last week and a large fish was £9.50. It's really cheap in Grimsby, I think.
it certainly is, Steve. Definitely. I mean, I pay what? I go up to the Willis fish and chip shop, and I pay £3.60 for small fish and chips up there.
Right.
Got good roadkill cleans and freezes.
But you know
That's
what? I
good.
mean, but I think you know what? Don't there's no shame in that game. If
No,
the
no,
roadkill if the roadkill is if somebody wants to do that and you know, people grow their own food, people are I'm quite lucky that I live on my own, I don't have children, and I've got a pretty good job. But, I was talking to my friend who's a bit older than me, and she had a really good job, and she's worried now. She's like, "Have I got enough money for my pension, to carry me
yeah,
through my pension?"
yeah,
And these are the things like because I'm getting older now, these are the things I always worry about. Do I have enough money? Do I have to work just a little bit longer just to be able to afford it? And where maybe 3 years ago I was taking things more for granted. I don't know what you think, Keith. In the last 3 years, I've had a bit of reality check,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm not taking things so much for granted anymore.
No, no. Well, I mean, you get to my age, you don't take things for granted because you never know when time's up, to put it
Mm.
bluntly. So I am pleased that I'm the age I am because with this cost of living crisis, and I'm a pensioner, I do get assistance off the UK government. You know, we've had a lot of help with our electricity bill, and you know, getting. I mean, I think everybody got the 400 payment, I believe, didn't they? But I mean, like at Christmas, I used to get a £200 bonus at Christmas. I got 300 last year, so that helped as well. And I have
Yeah.
cut down on the electric because in the winter I sit here with my dressing gown and a blanket on, so I put the heating on for about an hour a day. So it was Southern Cross. How young are you, Keith? I'm 73 nearly. 73. And what's who's put that? I bet that Eagle is looking good for 92. Not gonna lie. Thanks a lot, Steve. I remember that.
And Ian's put, DJI said, so not Ian, glad I got the pension sorted, even not the correct amount. But you know what? I still worry about it. I think I got my pension sorted. And then I look and I go, I can't retire till I'm 68. Are we going to have a pension by that point in time, or 67? Is there going to be a pension in place?
Well,
Or are we going
I look at it, Gail. Sorry, I look at things and I think to myself, people are going to have to save for their own pensions, and they're going to have to put a lot of money in, you know.
Yeah.
But the earlier you start, the better it is. I mean, I look back, and because I was self-employed most of my working life,
Yeah.
I wish I'd taken a bigger pension out than what I did do, you know. But I didn't think I'd make this age, you know. So Tony's put, you be okay, young people will struggle. Yeah. I feel for the young ones, you know. I look at my great grandchildren and I think to myself, are they ever going to be able to afford to own their own house? They're probably going to have to work until they're in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the way that mortgages are going now and see how long people have them, and you know, the extortionate rent that young people are paying in London, you know, you're paying 1,400 to 1,500 pounds for a little tiny house, 700 or 800 pounds for a room. Families are living in small rooms. And it is a struggle for working families. If you know, it's a bit thing. Never know if the pension scheme is going to be gambled away, as this happened a few times over the past few years. Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? You sort of have a contingent on a contingent, and then it's all dependent on how everything goes on the state, really. So you can save all this money and you've put it in a pot, and then if the stock exchange goes down, you're in a right old conundrum. An example, I think I had, what was it I had? I had some savings, like an ISA saving, and it was very scary this year when I rung them and I said, I want to cash one of them in. And they said, we're going to have to charge you for leaving. And I went, hang on, it's matured. Why are you charging me for leaving? And they said, oh, well, you know, it's gone down a little bit in value. We're going to charge you. And I thought, that's unheard of. I've never heard of that before. Can you still hear me, Keith?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Southern Crossers, but how does the pension system work in the UK?
Keith, do you want to explain that one?
We get a pension, a government pension when you reach 66 and a half now, and it's £203 a week. And if you take out a personal pension, well, that's whatever pension you take out. But yeah, pensioners get £203 a week, which really is not a bad wage, a bad income, because if you're only on that Southern Cross, then you get help with, you know, your electric and gas bills and so forth like that. And Steve's put wages increased by 20%, mortgages increased by 140. That's that very difficult for the young ones to get on the property ladder these days. It is.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
I mean, I know a young couple that's just getting married that have got to save £40,000 for a deposit on the house that they are looking at. 40,000. I mean, when I was young, you could buy a bungalow for 20,000. You know, all right. The living wage back in those days was only what was I on? I think about £14 a week. But prices have gone up. I mean, it's like when they talk about percentages, like 10% or 10.4% inflation's gone up. It never comes down, and your wages never go up to that. You might get 4 or 5%, so you're dropping behind every time there's inflation. And 10%, if somebody gets a 10% rise and they're on 50,000, that's a good rise. But if you're only on the minimum wage, which is what, 14, 15,000, 10% of that isn't a lot. So this is why I've always gone and said, really, going by percentage increases doesn't work. And now I see that our government are trialing, what is it, £1,600 to 30 people a month on where they pay that wage for a couple of years. I don't know whether you've seen anything about that.
No.
Yeah. So I'll go with Southern Cross first. Similar here with our social security. It helps, but not really a livable wage. Yeah. And Steve's put loads of houses around here up for sale for years. No one's buying them. Yeah, you're right there. No one is. I mean, we went for a ride up on the Fitties, and I counted 20 something odd properties up on the Fitties for sale. Well, they sell for roughly 100,000 or just over now. So and they're not selling because the ground rent's been put up to £5,000 a year.
What? £5,000 a year? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a place that you know, it's the Fitties. It's 10 months residence. You've got to go off for 2 months, but people who buy up there tend to stay there for the 12 months. But Tingdean took over about 5 years ago from the council, and they've steadily put up the ground rent, and it's now £5,000 a year.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, you think that's £100 a week. So if you're a retired pensioner, because most of them who live up there are pensioners, it's a lot of money. It's 5k a year, Steve says.
Yeah, you get to a point where there's that saying, isn't there, property rich and cash poor. And I think there's going to be an awful lot of people who are that way. But I think, and I don't know whether I'm going to rewrite about this, but I think we're going to go straight back into a recession. I think there's got to be a correction, a price correction in property, which I think is going to happen, and we'll go from there.
Maybe you'll agree with Tony's statement.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Well, that's not going to happen. My mother always plays hell because she'll say, oh, the neighbours down the road, they've got so much money and I get bloody taxed because I worked all my life, and the ones who haven't worked all their life get everything. She goes nuts about it. But she's got a sort of cunning plan because she goes, if you have savings below a certain amount, they won't tax you. So that's what she does now. And it doesn't encourage you to have a life plan, because if you become ill and need to be placed in a home, they'll have your house. They'll say, we want 85,000 to, we'll take that off your home, thanks. So how does that incentivize people? You work really hard to pay this mortgage of 35 years, and then you will have that taken off you should you go into a home, whereas somebody else will automatically be put in the home because they haven't saved or haven't taken any responsibility. This country's off. It is I don't know. It frustrates me, and I'm not sort of if people genuinely can't work, I don't have an issue with that. But some people, it really annoys me.
Yeah. It does me because I see a lot of it. You know that a lot of people get a lot of help, and they haven't worked. They've played the system. Genuine people, I don't mind, but these people I mean, many years ago, going back, I used to be a debt collector, and I used to go on 2 council estates in Grimsby, and I'd go there and I'd ask them for so much, to pay. Would you pay so much off the debt? Got no money. And at the same time, I did a sweep round because I was 17, 16, 17, just left school and just started work, and I had an old pram with pick and mix sweets at 25 pence a bag.
Right.
But they couldn't pay the debt off, but they'd come out and spend 20 quid with me buying the sweets.
Yeah.
So that is how people do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Steve says, keep your money tied up in other things. Yeah. Buy what you want. Don't save it. Buy what you want. Tony's put, I like this where people do take part, our audience, but jobs are getting harder or pay less than the dough.
Yeah, jobs are getting. Yeah, you're right. Jobs are getting harder to get. I felt very lucky in getting my job at my age. There are jobs out there. It's just a matter of. I think that it's writing your CV and your curriculum vitae and knowing what your skill set is and identifying them. A lot of people, I think, a lot of older people do not write their CVs in the correct manner. They don't sell themselves. They don't have a structure. And they don't put down their experience. They don't write it properly because people will go, well, I worked at a shop. And while I was at the shop, I did this, that, the other. And they just describe everything instead of, I took responsibility for a stock take. This involved da, 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 da. And as a result of this, I did this. I'll put this next
Steve's
comment on. Yeah, Steve. Some people around here are lazy and fiddling every benefit there is. One guy the other day with a limp and a walking stick burst into a run across the crossing and went back to a limp real quick. Yeah, definitely. And that makes me sad. That makes me sad because there are genuine families and people who work really, really hard and they can't get any bloody thing. And then Tony's wrote a comment, Keith, as well.
Friends went for 2 jobs, one overqualified, the other unqualified.
Yeah.
And
I think going back, sorry, Keith. I think going back to that application form, they will. But the thing is, I think they will dump a huge amount of CVs because the CVs say a load of old crap. Like I said, they will just rant on. People will just rant on. I worked in a shop. I did this. I did the other. They don't look at the job description. They don't sell each other. They don't sell themselves. And then I'm overqualified for quite a few jobs. But if I'm going for a specific job, I will sell the skills that I have to fit that curriculum, that CV. So if it's a managerial, I will go, I can demonstrate my managerial experience like this. If it's just a regular job, it would be, I work well in a team. I am a team player. Do you see that's different, how that's structured? Anyway, go on, Keith, sorry.
Well, I know we've gone off the subject of saving, but it does involve really what we've been discussing. Because everybody in this world today is struggling with the cost of living increases. And especially here, when you look in the UK, we are the highest country in the EU, although we're not in the EU. We're paying more for our goods than they are in Europe. Because I was on to somebody, a channel that I follow, who lives in France. And when I told him how much we were paying for bread and other things, he come back, you're paying nearly 20% more than what I'm paying. Just couldn't understand that at all. And is that because of our taxation? Because you look that our government takes, what is it, nearly 75% on fuel and energy?
Yeah.
So we do pay a lot for our energy. So of course, with those costs, it puts the cost onto the food that we buy.
Yes, agreed.
So what's Tony put? He shot on the funny side, done 900 hours on flight sim. Think I will get a job.
That's
That's
funny.
if you want it, Tony. You know,
Oh,
I mean, do you really want it? Because I think Tony's 66 now. Because
oh, is he?
he's a pensioner now, so
Okay.
he's just got his pension. You know, but
Oh
I
God, no,
look at
don't,
it.
no, don't. If you're getting help, I would just be doing. If I had a choice, I would be working part-time now. If I'm honest with you.
Well, I thought you was working part time. I thought
No, I
you'd
work
got.
full-time.
Oh. And Steve's put, I play flight sim a fair bit. I always imagine this scenario where I am on the flight and the stewardess runs out the cockpit and shouts, "Can anyone fly this plane?" Say, "Oh my bit." Steve's got a lovely sense of humour. So yes, it just shows you. Yeah, I mean, even at my age, sometimes I often think I get fed up during the day when I'm not doing anything, especially now because I mean, with Pat being the way she is,
Yeah.
she plays up if I go on the iPad or if I go on the computer. So I've got to watch TV, and I get that bored
Mm.
because she won't go see anybody now. I don't know whether that's because of her illness or whatever, but when I suggest going to see friends, she always goes, "No, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered." So, but that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to get away next week for a few days.
Good.
Get
Anyway,
her.
so let's go back to the subject. Tony said he's 67, and okay, my friend is now, how old is she? She's 73 years old, and
Yeah, same.
we were having this conversation. She says, I need to have an income stream at
Yeah,
73. What am I going to do? Well, she taught herself web design at the humble age of 62 or
yeah,
60. So she does WordPress and whatever. And she's got several companies that she's reached out to and is doing like a restaurant website, another website to get her teeth done. She did a dental website. So I think people can get stuff. It's just a matter of being creative. I mean, there are older creators on YouTube, even the bigger ones, who are making a really good income because their channels are growing.
yeah,
Like I think of sort of Melissa 55, she's
yeah,
68
yeah,
now. Susan, I think of they Anne Marie, they're making a really good, not a livable income from
okay,
YouTube because
yeah,
they know how to. They've got an audience. They know how to keep their audience, and it's just. I think as we get older, we've got to start thinking more outside the box with
yeah.
getting jobs or thinking. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, the two people or three people you mentioned there, that Anne Marie. I mean, I remember interviewing her where she only had a couple of hundred subscribers. She's got about 16, 17,000 now.
No, she's got almost 40, I think now.
40,000. And it's just a channel about clothes, isn't she?
Yeah.
For the over
50.
60s.
Over
And
50s.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
you've got Little Poet. She's got over 100,000 subscribers, and she puts one video up a week
that's right.
discussing a life,
Yeah,
a bit of video in, and I mean, I watched her video this morning, and I thought, hell, she'd had about 20 odd thousand views on
yeah,
it.
yep, always.
And that was 20 minutes after it had been put up.
Yeah,
I mean, I must say that my best mate grew up very disadvantaged. He taught himself and all kinds of tech. Did online, and now it's a tech admin for
yeah,
Siemens. Yeah, great, Steve. I mean, it's like Steve. I mean, when I met Steve with his old channel, he
yeah,
only had a few hundred subscribers. He turned it to the niche that he really enjoys, which is gaming. And I think at the last count, when I looked at the video he put up yesterday or the day
yeah,
before, he's got 11,700 and
yeah,
something. So you look, all right, he's not making a living from YouTube, but he's got the chance at now at his age to build that channel up and get an income
Yeah.
from YouTube or social media,
Yeah.
because it's not just about YouTube, it's about creating an audience that's going to stick with you. So you do the join the membership,
Yeah.
you put up private streams to them, to those people that join. You also could do your own merchandise and everything like that. So when you look, yeah, I mean, it's like I've always said, this is fun to me. This is a hobby. It's not but I know all the tricks where, or all the things to do to make it to grow. But because I don't do thumbnails, I don't schedule my broadcasts because I never know when I can
Yeah,
go
you
live.
can. Yeah.
So that's why I really, it's a hobby at the moment.
So there's a
So
couple here. I'm sorry. My best mate grew up very disadvantaged. He taught himself web design and all kinds of tech, did online uni, and now is a tech admin for Siemens, earning fat coins. Exactly. I took this gaming channel from a dead channel with no uploads for 5 years and 70 subs, unlisted the old crap, took all my knowledge and rebooted the channel with a new outlook and passion, which is the thing. I think it's sort of like sometimes you have to go, you hold on to something. Like I've probably held on to this channel, my channel, too long. And I think, is it worth unlisting videos and doing a complete reboot, or just starting again with a different channel, still uploading on my one channel, but then rebooting the channel? So I think that's a good game. It's a good gambit, to be honest, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you want out of life, doesn't it? Whether
Yeah.
you want to make a successful career out of YouTube, because the opportunity is there. Because as you've just mentioned, 3 over 60s
Yeah.
and who are making a living, or could be making a living
Yeah.
out of YouTube.
Yeah.
And Randolph's here, and he says, "Hi all, hello there, Randolph.
Hello.
Nice of you to drop in." So when you look at that, Gail, yeah, because everybody's got the opportunity. Not everyone will make it, because
Well, I think
it's not easy. You've got to
no.
work out a channel. You've got to really uh, put the hours in and the time and
Yeah.
the dedication. And what Steve put down this time? Can you read that one out?
Yes, I made several videos which took a long time to make. On a proof watch, I have started all over again. If you don't enjoy your videos, I agree, no one else will. That is so true. It's basically, I know very much when I teach, if I'm bored teaching, how can I expect my audience to not engage? So you're absolutely right. I think it is a very important point. But getting back to the sort of, we'll go back to the subject matter of, watching the money and then having other income streams. I think as we get older, we become a little bit negative.
Yeah.
But it's like, things are not going to come easy as you get older. They're going to go harder. So you have to have that expectation. But I always think that if at first you don't succeed, you try and try again. And sometimes I think, like Barry took ages to get 1,000 subscribers, remember? And then all of a sudden he just changed it and his channel doubled within 6 months. And with Pauline, she took forever to do that. And it went, Tony says, can't monetize YouTube as if I have a drone on there. I need a full license. Yeah, but Tony, you could do other things. So until you've got that full license and monetize, just do videos without the drone for now. Do 360 videos. And then once you get monetized and that you can make some money, then save that money do you know what I mean? So it's becoming almost like I call it a solutions focused person. So I look at something and I go, well, how can I solve it? And if I can't solve it, why am I pursuing it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm eating steak and chips.
Oh, Randolph, you're making me hungry now.
And Tony said the drone license is 1,700 quid, I think.
Yeah. That's what Tony's put down, 1,700 quid. Yeah.
But the thing is, again, if you get that license, okay, so if you get a full drone license, can you then put yourself into business and sell your drone footage?
Yeah. So Steve's put down, I always thought that you could monetize if you upload your videos without prior payment contract. Not up to date on the drone rules these days. Not flown in years. Yeah, you haven't, are you, Steve? Yeah. I don't know what the rules are, but I would have thought doing it as a hobby. I mean, because people think that when they get to the 1,000 subs, they're going to make
Yeah,
a lot of money. But
which they don't.
it's far from it. Where you make the money on YouTube is by getting members and selling merchandise and becoming affiliated members to Amazon and
Yes.
other things. Yeah, because then
And
you've got,
channel memberships, if you've got a really good subscriber base, channel memberships as well is a really good one.
yeah.
But you have to have that people coming in joining the conversation, and then wanting to engage with your channel, I think.
Yeah. You have, that's it. So are we finishing there? Because we've been going 51 minutes.
Oh,
Or
here we go. Look, yes, but can't fly with 3 days as you need to file a plan.
oh, yeah.
So you have to fly a plan. Yeah, Keith, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any more we want to talk on the subject of the cost of living this week and savings, or have we finished the
Well, shall
conversation?
we conclude now? And
Yeah.
then we can revisit the subject again. We went off a little bit, but then we came back again. We can revisit the subject again, and we will be back again next Sunday for another one.
Yes, we will be back next week with episode 3 of the Gail and Keith Show. So I appreciate you all coming in, Steve, Tony, Southern Cross, Randolph, and whoever else was in. We appreciate your time and thank you for taking part in the conversation. It helps to have the flow of the show. And all right, we have gone off topic a bit, but hopefully next week's topic will be interesting. And I will have to try and start to advertise this. What Steve put down there. Key tip for the day: never land a $5 or less because you will likely never get it back. Thanks a lot for that tip then, Steve. Anyway, I'm going to say cheerio.
Thank you.
Bye for now.